Hey, copper nerds. I'm just going to cut to the chase. I think the 1794 large cent market's too soft. Starting it off with a bold statement there, huh? No, I do. I think that the 1794 large cent market is too soft. I've been in it for a couple of years, and I'm picking up just these exceptional deals on coins that, I mean, they have no business selling as cheap as they have compared to what they've done in the past. This Sheldon 18A is a good example. It's been through a bunch of big collections. In fact, I'm going to edit myself away for a second and just grab my provenance list. This isn't just some coin I picked up for less than $2,000, which I did. And that's what the market value is. I didn't like steal it. It sold for less than I paid for it. At auction, how long before I got it? 2 years before I got it in 2022. I picked it up about a year ago. But this coin's been around and tracked since the 90s. It's passed through Jack Wadlington's collection. It went through Macaulay and Grellman for sales, was owned by Chuck Heck, Doug Bird, Scott Moore, through Tom Deck to myself. And at one point, this coin sold for $5,000 back in 2017. I picked it up for $1,750. And if you're thinking that's a lot of money, it is. It's a lot of money to spend on a coin. If you think that's a lot of money when it comes to 1794s, I mean, it's not. There's sort of a few different types of 1794 collector, I guess we should say. There's the kinds of people that are collecting coins like this. And I am not one of those people. I inherited this coin. I could not have reasonably afforded to purchase this one myself, but I don't even know what it would go for, honestly. It's a condition census Sheldon 69. It's condition census 5. It probably, I would hope it would fetch $10,000. I can't imagine it not fetching $10,000. And I'm not saying I wouldn't pay $10,000 for this coin, because I would. I would pay $10,000 for that coin. I would, I'm gonna step away and grab one more. I didn't, but would pay $10,000 for the 17A like this one that had a few less problems, but not a lot less problems. Honestly, the obverse on this one, combined with its rarity and desirability at present, could be a $10,000 coin. The reverse has some issues, some more recent cleaning and corrosion issues. But there's so many just very affordable 1794s out there for collectors like us. And when I say us, I'm talking you and me. The people that are buying $10,000 coins, and this one's been recolored. This is not that expensive for a 1794. If it didn't have any problems, it would probably be a $25,000 coin. If it just had a nice chocolate brown surface and didn't have any of that old cleaning evident. And that's just another type of collector. It's not the kind of collector I am. I doubt many of you are out there dropping $25,000 on a coin. But when we're talking a few $100s, I mean, this awesome Sheldon 44 has a market value probably $400 to $500. You can buy a lot of ugly coins for $400 to $500, but that doesn't make the nicer looking ones worth a whole lot more than that, particularly a sort of choice lower grade coin relative, I don't know, something like this, which I cherry picked on eBay for half of what it's worth. That has a little more details, but maybe a few more little problems. They're actually kind of comparable. Yeah, here we go. Let's go with this one. I know I paid $600 for this one. Those are the kinds of numbers you guys are more comfortable hearing, right? Because I am too. So this one was a $600 coin. It's got some issues, some scuffs in the field, a little bit of toning that's missing that I'm not sure why. It looks like maybe some like corrosion was removed. And it's got some wipe kind of scuffs across it. It's also got some significant dings along the edge on the reverse, but it's a nice coin. But you know, $600, $400, $1,700 for a rarity 6. There's 20 of these that exist, and this is the 14th nicest. That seems almost too affordable. And I guess another thing to point out is I'm not saying that 1794 large cents are the best large cents, because they're not. 1793s are. I'll fight to the death on that. 1793 is the greatest year for coinage in the US history as far as I'm concerned. But it's just too expensive to collect them. In fact, I'm gonna go grab my chain set. This is a Sheldon 1 chain set, a Mary reverse. And the obverse is not, you know, not too wonderful to look at. There's not a lot of Liberty left, but it's got this really strong reverse, as you'll see in the pictures. And that I picked up for a few $1,000s, which was a steal. I think that even with the damage and associated issues, that this Mary with that strong of a reverse, according to the eBay market anyway, probably a $5,000 coin. And it's low grade. You know, it's not as nice as any of my $400 1794s. So I think 1793s are the best. I don't even have a nice wreath cent. I have a lowball one, and I don't have a 1793 Liberty cap, because I mean, getting one comparable to this $600 coin here. If it was a 93 cap, it would be $15,000 or $20,000. That's insane, right? I'm not trying to have a bunch of $15,000 and $20,000 coins. So I think that 1794s are the second best year, and that they're head and shoulders above any other year minted of large cents at the US Mint. So I guess part of the premise is that I do think 1794s are the second best year of coins, but by far the best year to collect, because they're affordable and the variation is drastic and substantial. And you don't see that through other series, not nearly this diverse. The prices that I'm paying, I mean, even if I was a dealer, I think I'd pay the same price. And I expect to pay dealer premiums. If I can cherry pick it for $500, I expect to pay $700 or $750 to a dealer who cherry picked it for me and has it sitting there in their inventory. I'm not trying to go compete in auctions to win coins. I'm not trying to bid on a bunch of multiple coins in an auction, because sometimes if I won everything I was bidding on, I wouldn't be comfortable settling up. You know, I might go bid on one coin. You know, right now I am bidding on one coin on one auction platform, but I'm not trying to be the top bidder on 5 or 6 coins at a time. The dealers do that. That's why they're important, and that's why we need them to help protect the market, really. Since I'm not out there bidding on all these coins, what I know is happening is that there's some really great EAC dealers out there. And, you know, if this coin is sitting there with a $4,000 bid on it, they're gonna make sure, you know, there's probably a couple of the dealers that are gonna make sure it sells for $6,000 or $7,000, because they're gonna flip it for 10 grand. And that's how it should work. What we don't want to see happening is the market just collapse where there's nobody buying coins. This one has a little tiny, there it is, lint spot on it. So I think the market's soft. I mean, I'm not going to say any names, but I've bought coins from dealers and collectors that I looked very plainly in the 1794 registry. They sold for more than that at auction a few years ago. So it's not just me opining that the market is soft. I've had people tell me the market's not soft. Well, it is. The market's soft for 1794s compared to what they had been selling for. Now, who am I hurting by making this revelation? I mean, certainly if you're not yet a 1794 collector, this should be good news to you. I think you can buy in on 1794s very reasonably right now, and I have. So I'm not hurting the people that aren't yet into 1794s. In fact, my goal is to bring you into the fold and have you take a closer look at all the variation between the 1794 large cents. Am I hurting the dealers? No. The dealers should receive their premiums if they're the ones out there that are buying up coins from private collections or competing in those auctions, which I just don't have the time or inclination to do, to be honest. I have, other than the occasional eBay auction, all of my nice coins, probably everyone on this desk, was fixed price list or directly from a dealer or a member, except for that missing fraction bore. I bought it on eBay. It was not attributed as a missing fraction bar, which was at the time recognized as an R5 minus coin. Now it's an R4 plus because we found a few more, but that one I bought on eBay at a fixed price. This one I bid on, and that is the X Boca, Heck, Tom Reynolds, Mark Cadden, 24 apple cheeks that just didn't have the provenance listed, but I recognized their envelopes on eBay, so I paid $1,364, I think, which is a smoking deal for a very fine grade apple cheeks with that kind of provenance. But so these two I bought on eBay. In fact, this one again was just to buy it now. This is the only coin sitting in front of us that I bought at an auction of any kind. I bought this one from a member directly, same with this one, same with this one. Great EAC dealer, EAC member, great EAC dealer, member, member. That was the buy it now on eBay, member, member, and I inherited that one. So really, I'm not out there participating in auctions. So I want the dealers to go out and get the deals that they're getting, and then I'm willing to pay market value for what it is that I buy. So I'm not hurting the dealers. They should get their markup. They do get their markup. I'm not hurting the dealers. So I think the only type of collector that I'm doing any harm to by making the statements that I am here are people like myself who are actively collecting 1794s, because I'm not hurting the people that have their collections already in place. For those of you that are sitting out there with all 58 varieties, all I'm trying to do is say that your collection's worth more than what the market currently says it is, because it should be worth more than what the market currently says it is. So it's the active collectors like myself are the only people that are probably, shaking their fists at my commentary about these coins being underpriced. And do I expect to pay a little? Would I be happy to pay a little more moving forward? Yes. I want 1794s to be a very active niche. I do want to see people actively acquiring 1794s and actively upgrading and selling their 1794s to new people in the fold. This one was sold to me by an EAC member who is upgrading. It has a complete collection, and so is this one. So these are two different people that have all 58 varieties of 1794, and now they're working on their upgrades. And I'd like to get there. I believe, yes, last night I just bought my 44th variety of 58. So I've got 14 to go. The three really tough ones, of course, the starred reverse, the wheel spoke, and the Sheldon 37. Those are really tough coins, tens of thousands of dollars even for ugly ones. And Tom Deck had a pretty gnarly, as in ugly, starred reverse in his inventory some time back, and I just kind of watched the price drop a little bit until it eventually sold. It didn't move. The last time I saw it was priced at $8,500, and I probably should have tried to make arrangements to pick that one up, because a lot of these more significant coins, the dealers know that most of us aren't sitting there with $10,000 in our pocket, right? You can usually arrange some sort of a layaway plan. Don't try and get coins in your hand without paying for them, but layaway is often acceptable to dealers, and I don't hesitate to at least bring it up as an option. Like, hey, I don't have this now, but you know, a $5,000 coin, would you give me 6 months? You know, if I pay 1,000 a month, does that work for 5 months? You know, I'm not opposed to having those kinds of discussions on the more difficult, expensive coins. The market is just like, it's just soft. I don't know what else to say. You do need a lot of money to collect 1794s in general. And if you're trying to put together all 58, you're going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars to get anything that's respectable. So I'm not trying to downplay just how much money is involved, but it's also kind of a lifelong pursuit. If you have a budget of $3,000 or $4,000 a year, you can make meaningful progress, and maybe over a decade you can build your set, particularly if you're doing some cherry picking. Some of the ones that I don't have on the table are hideous placeholder examples that I just snatched off of eBay because I attributed them and they were 175, 200 bucks, 300 bucks. So these are some of my nicer coins. I've probably got a few nice ones that aren't over here, but these are some ones that I really do like. But, you know, this coin here was under $1,000. I mean, some of these here are several $1,000s. I mean, this one's got huge provenance and I bought it from Alboca, and I'm not going to say what I paid, but it was thousands of dollars. Same with that one. It's a very rare coin. I paid thousands of dollars. We talked about this one at 1,750. But a lot of these, you know, in that low 1,000s range, in the mid hundreds, 400 to 600 range. I think 700, 800. This one was in the thousands. This one is probably worth 10. This one I think I picked up for $1,000 bucks, but it's worth probably 3, even in today's soft market. So these coins are attainable. I'm not one of the people out. I mean, take a look at the Dan Holmes or the Walt Husak collection, and any one of their coins is worth more than my entire collection. So I'm not talking about that market. That's just a different market that most of us aren't in. I'm talking about collector grade stuff like this. The market is soft. It is a good time to get into it. You're going to be competed against me on some stuff, but you can see the kind of money I'm throwing around. Not that much. I'm also not one to participate in auctions. I like that the dealers are active in the auctions, along with the members who do like auctions. It's just not really my thing. I like to think about a coin, think about the price, think about the provenance, decide if it's the right pick for me or not. Because I'm not trying to turn around and sell these anytime soon either. I don't mind overpaying a little bit for the right coin, particularly in a soft market like we have now. So, yeah, the market is soft in 1794s, and I think it's okay for us to acknowledge that. I'm told that other areas of early copper is strong. I'm told that high grade coins generally of those later early dates into the middle and late dates, that those are going strong, and I'm glad. Something this nice that's actually, you know, a braided hair cent that you could get for $2,000 instead of $10,000 like this, yeah, that makes sense. But again, the 94s, very affordable, particularly in collector grades. And I think more people should look at it. To my own detriment and really no other type of collector, I think that you should look at them. I do think it's important that the 1794 community remains strong. I do think it's by far the most interesting series. Just look at the head variations and head styles on these coins. And I know that this isn't the greatest setup for reviewing these, and again, I'm inserting some photos here and there, but just look at the variation. I don't even have to talk you through them. It's obvious. I'm looking at the same screen you are right now instead of looking at them in person. Just each head that's down there is distinct, unique. And you get to recognize each of the varieties. You'll be able to tell them apart. As Jim Carr told me, it's kind of like recognizing the face of a friend. How many friends do we have that we recognize at sight? You'll eventually be able to just look at the varieties of 1794s and just say, oh, that's an apple cheeks for sure. You know, oh, that's a Treffend head 62. You know, I know my 69 and 70. 70's just got the crack between T and Y on most. 51's a really easy one to recognize. So is the 17A, that heavy lower lock and the light header 93. You'll just get to appreciate and recognize these coins as the individuals that they are between the varieties. And the more you get into 1794s, the nerdier you're gonna get, I promise. And I don't know, I'd like to see you come into the fold again, to the detriment of no one other than collectors like myself. And if the other collectors like myself are mad that I'm trying to get people to take a closer look at 1794s and jump into collecting them, I don't know, tough shit. I'm trying to protect the hobby itself, and I don't mind paying what I think these coins are actually worth if that means that we have a healthy market around 1794s, because right now we don't, particularly on the lower to mid-grade collector stuff. The prices are soft. You can buy things now for less than what they were selling for at auction a decade ago, sometimes for a fraction of what they were selling for at auction a decade ago. So now I think is a good time to at least look at 1794s, and there's plenty out there in the lower grades. These are a little tougher to find. These are all fairly nice, fairly choice for their overall condition. There's a million ratty ones out there for cheap too, though. I mean, if you want to spend $200 or $300, they're out there. Jump on eBay, jump in the dealer's inventory. Hell, I just bought one last night. I was watching my own video about my top 5 places to buy coins, and I saw one in Tom Beck's inventory on my own video that I had missed the last time I was at his website. A Sheldon 23, it's coming. It was a great deal. It's a great coin, and he has it priced exactly at what the market says it's worth, but it's a rare coin, and to have a rare coin for a few $100, even though it's low grade and has corrosion issues, that's just cool. It's just cool to have something that is that rare. If there's 50 of us that decide to collect 1794s and try and get all of the varieties, we can't. Like, there's 20 of these. How many people have all 58 right now? I think it's probably about a dozen. So there's not room for all of us to collect all 58, but I don't think everyone needs to try and collect all 58 varieties to enjoy collecting 1794s. That doesn't have to be your goal. That's like the big aspirational goal, and it's kind of my goal, but not everyone has to be that way. Maybe all you really want is to have a really nice head of 93, a really nice head of 94, and a really nice head of 95. That one's just so nice, it's hard to use an example. But maybe you just want 3, just a basic type set of the 3 head styles of 1794, because they are unique. They really should. If you're collecting 1794s, there's a difference between the heads of 93, 4, and 5. So those are 3 different categories. Those could be fun to collect. Maybe you decide you want a short bust, and you want one that's got like, a prominent loop on it. So maybe you're just like, yeah, I like those 2. I like just to show the difference between a short bust and a regular bust. There's all kinds of ways to collect. Or maybe you say you want to just collect the ones that have reverse X, that Sheldon 49 to 54 segment. That'd be a fun one to collect. That was what I pursued at one point and have now as I work towards the 58. So that is kind of my pitch for 1794 large cents in specific, particularly while the market is affordable and fairly soft. This video isn't for everybody. The last one that I made on the difference between EAC and commercial grading, that's for everybody. I hope that everybody who either is collecting copper or who is copper adjacent and just doesn't understand why the weird EAC guys use a different grading scale, that video is for everybody. This video is a pitch to you to consider 1794 large cents, because right now is a great time to get into them. I'm about 2 years into my focus on 1794s. I used to be more of a gold and silver guy, so I did convert some gold and silver to 1794s. My acquisition pace has been substantially higher than it is going to be moving forward. I have already segregated out the gold and silver that I wanted to have available for other assets and converted it to these copper coins. So that part is done. I have slowed way down on acquisitions, and I will continue to be a little more methodical. But it's not a fun journey to do alone, and I'm not. But most of the people that I'm on the journey with are very advanced collectors. many of whom already collected all 58 of the 1794s, sold their collections, retained some of their favorites, and now they just kind of hang out in the hobby and mentor the new guys like myself. I get so much mentoring. Whatever I'm doing here on the channel is a fraction of what I'm actually receiving directly from some of these, the boys of 94, the boys and girls of 94. There's a little subgroup of EAC dedicated just to 1794 large cents that's not talked about. I mean, it's talked about openly, but you gotta get in, we gotta have some 1794s to really get into the social aspects of the boys and girls of 94. So if you are a 1794 collector and you and I have not had direct conversations, and you're not in the Boys of 94 club, but you are an EAC member, let me know. I'd like to get you a little more familiar with that little niche. But yeah, I'm just going to put a pin in it. 1794 large cents are undervalued right now. You should look at them. I am saying that to my own detriment. That's how you know I'm sincere. I'd be a crazy person to try and get that market to inflate while also actively acquiring 1794s. And I would guess, I'm not even gonna guess, I'm gonna state confidently that as of right now, over the last 2 years, there's not another person out there who is accumulating 1794 large cents at a rate faster than I am. I am certainly the most active 1794 large cent collector right now, and nobody should be more upset with me than me about trying to strengthen that market, because I still have 14 tough ones to go. So take a closer look at them. It's not just my opinion. If you do sit down and take that closer look at all the unique variation between the various head styles, and that's not without talking about die clashes and die breaks and die sinking and cuds and all the cool stuff that you find within that series, just the variations alone make them the most interesting series out there. And the second best series only to the 1793 large cents, which none of us can afford. But then you get into the really cool die breaks and all the other fun stuff that comes along with 1794s that is so much better than any other series. I think you'll fall in love with them if you give them a chance, but that's just me. And maybe I'm all wet, and maybe the market should just be soft, and maybe I should just own all the 1794s. I don't know. Sure, the really nice ones are going to be in high-end collections, but if there's no one out there who's trying to spend $400 or $500 to get these, I'll just buy all of them that exist at $400 or $500 or $600 or $700 or $800. You know, I'll take all of those if no one else wants them. I just don't know why you wouldn't want them. Okay, there's my pitch. We'll wrap up like we do. I appreciate you checking out this video. I will look forward to talking to you in the comments. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.